Hi everyone! I'm in my studio at my gallery and I'm going to do part 2 of the challenge of drawing. First we did the drawing last week and now I'm going to prep the canvas, and I have a 16 by 20 canvas. So let's get started. First we start with some gesso. Let's take the plastic off here first. This is a 16 by 20 stretch canvas with a 1.5 inch profile. And what that means is this area here. You want to get a wrap canvas because then you don't have to worry about framing it. And it's become very popular because you can paint the sides, your profile, with the same pattern you've got on the painting, which is just wonderful. Let's get this unwrapped and we will apply. I'm not sure yet whether I'll do 1 or 2 layers of gesso, but they come pre-primed, but quite often it's not enough, and I personally don't care for it. Some people don't care, and because they're putting such a lot of paint on it anyways. And I like a little bit of a smoother texture, so I put a good layer of gesso, and as you can see I have a big bucket, and have everything laid out here. Right, so today I'm going to use my household painting brushes because they cover more area and I can get a smooth finish on my gesso. So let's see which one I'm going to use. This one here. This will be good. So get your gesso and go in one direction the first time round, just straight out of the pot. You can water it down a tiny bit, but not a lot. You want this to be good and firm on here. And we'll just get this painted on. Okay, and you need to do your sides also, so don't leave any part of the canvas unfinished. So just kind of smooth it out as you're going. Make it nice. You don't want any lumps in there. If you see any lumps in the paint, which can happen sometimes if your gesso has been sitting a while, and make sure you pick those off because you don't want lumps unless you want crazy texture on your piece. I try to keep it smooth and then add the texture I want with stencils or piled up paint or crackle finish. There's lots of things you can do. Okay, so now I'm going to paint my edges. And this all happens pretty fast. And then we're going to let it dry for a while. Make sure it's good and dry. Come back and check it out. Some people, especially oil painters, they prefer a smooth canvas. So if they've bought a canvas that's a little bit rough, they'll put about 3 to 5 coats of gesso on and sand in between the coats. I have done this for a smoother finish. So it's up to you, what you want to do. The acrylic will stick, and so you don't have to worry about it if it's smooth. Turn it, get some more paint here. Now I'm not focusing a whole lot on putting a thick layer of paint on the sides because that's not our focal. And we'll get this done. Okay, I see some dry patches right here. And you notice I don't wear gloves. I probably should. If you don't like getting acrylic all over yourself, because it's going to happen, wear gloves. But I don't. I just like the tactile feel of everything, and sometimes I get my fingers right in the paint and do some designs. You'll probably see me do that. All right, so we've got this on there. It's pretty smooth. And so let's let it dry and take a 15-minute break and come back and maybe start painting. And what we're going to do today is our base coat that's going to be underneath the face. And so we'll put the base coat on. It'll be an abstract background. And then we'll put the drawing that we did last week on, and put her on here and then start working on it. And I'm not sure if we'll be able to get working on the face today. That might be next week's project, but let's get this done first. Okay. All right, where's my... Gotta click this off. All right. Okay. Stop talking video. I don't know what that means. Is it going to record? Oh, it's recording. All right. So what I have here, this is called GAC 800, and it reduces crazing and an extender for acrylics. So I'm just going to put a few blobs of it here to help mix my paint. And I'm going to pick some of my favorite colors. There's a blue-green. Oh boy, my voice is gone. And some white. And let's see what else we got here. We've got a phthalo turquoise. And let's see, I got to figure out a color combo here. And maybe a dash of pink, okay? And of course white. We're going to be using white. Looking for things. I can't find my palette knives. Don't see any. Okay, so here's a palette knife. I'm going to put out a blob of titanium white right there. And put that away. Then we'll put some phthalo purple. No, phthalo turquoise. Ooh. Now, see, it's a good idea to check your paints before you open them. And before you close them, clean the tops. This one got under the radar there. So I'm going to put some of this phthalo turquoise. You see? Have a bit of that. And some blue-green. This is a really pretty color. All right, wipe my palette knife off. And we'll put a bit of this over here and mix it with the GAC. So hopefully that'll extend the life. And this one here, put a bit of GAC in there. This stuff is kind of not coming out like a squirt, so I guess that's a good thing. All right. And then we'll put a little bit of this pink, which is a fluorescent magenta. Ooh. Okay. Well, I'm going to clean this off for that one. All right, so we got it cleaned off, and I'll put some of that down. So there's our three colors that I'm going to do the background with. And I'm going to start with just a light wash. Just wipe off your fingers right onto your canvas. So we'll start with a light wash and see where we go. Okay, let's rock on here. Okay, I like the sponge brushes. You can pick these up at a hardware store, and they run about $1 a piece, and they're really kind of handy. So we'll use that somewhere along the line here. I'm going to mix a bit of white, my white in there, mix some white in with this. And you notice I'm not mixing the colors so that they're completely blended. So we'll leave some striations in there. And I'm going to use the brush we just used to put on the gesso. So just kind of wish-wash all over the place. Wherever you want some color. Okay, I'm going to put that up there. And I'm going to put this down here. Now see where the color is got a hint of the pink in there. And just kind of mishmash it all over the place. It doesn't have to, you don't have to be perfect. You just kind of have fun with it. Just kind of lay it down. And then we put some of this green up here. And mix it in. Darn it, it's thumping all over the place here. Okay. And I'll put a little bit more of that green in there. And sometimes you'll see little bits, so pull the little bits off your canvas because otherwise they are there for good. All right, we just found one. All right, I might have to do a bit more paint by the looks of it. This is a good size canvas here. So it's almost like a patchwork, what we've got going on right now. See how the colors are all mixed in together, and they're really fun. It's fun to do this. So just keep it to 3 colors to start with and see what happens, and then you can build up layers. So we're just gonna, and you know, the background may not even look like this when we get done. Who knows? Things change. Okay, I can see I need to throw a shirt on top of this one. I don't want to get paint on my white shirt. When I used to watch her videos, she used gesso instead of white. And sometimes I use the gesso too. If I can't find the white, I'll use the gesso because the gesso is white. And it works just fine. So if you're in a pinch, use your gesso, unless it's a different color. I have some black gesso at home, so that wouldn't work. Anyway, so this is so pretty what we've got going on here. I am going to put some of this darker blue and we'll mix it in. And we'll clean off some stuff here. Ooh, this is a yummy color. It's a lot like a ultramarine blue. I'll just go like this too. So take your knife and you're done. Put it on the painting. You'll be blending it down anyways. So let's see what we got going on here. All right. And mix it with some of this sea green looking. Okay. A bit in there. Chunks of dried paint. Get that off. Now I am going to switch my brushes, and I have this luscious new brush I bought. It's just gorgeous. It's a Royal and Lancel Jumbo. And I actually found it at Michael's of all places. So let's give it a whirl. Yeah, these are real pastel colors we got going on here. But you know, you can add the darker colors as we start layering. So I'm going to just paint my edges here. I'm putting down some of this at random just to get it covered. And we can always go back and put marks on there, make it interesting. But get it covered while you're at this stage. Let's see. Ooh, this brush is luscious. Okay, and we got a big chunk of paint right there. So take that off. There we go. And this one got away right there. All right, I'm going to mix some of that crazy stuff. So see how the color went on. All right, we'll get that done. I'm going to put some white in there. I'm not fussing about the color at this point because we're going to do some stenciling on top of this once it's dry, the next layer, and make it real interesting. Okay, so yeah, this brush is great for smoothing it out a bit. Okay, so I'm just going back and forth. And we can go with some more white. Now this technique here of running the white over top of the paint is actually called scumbling. So I'm putting this sort of in the area where we're going to put down the face. So that's a, but I also want some of these colors to come through on the face. If that makes any sense. Sometimes that makes no sense at all. Okay. I'm just kind of mixing that up. Doing this fast because acrylics dry fast. Even with the GAC, it just seems to dry pretty fast. Okay, so we've got this all done. I'm going to put a bit more of the magenta, and we'll get some of this, mix it all in. That's so much fun. Yeah. Okay. When you see me wipe it off like that, I'm just wiping off blobs that I have that I don't want sticking to the painting. So we got the sides done. I'm just going to clean them up a little bit. These are a couple of backup brushes I have over here. All right. So this is pretty smooth. Okay, see me just kind of blending that in. And then I see a little bit of debris, and you can pick that out either with your fingernail or with your palette knife, like I just did. And then go back in and just kind of fix it up a little bit. Okay, so this is stage 2. And next we will be putting the face on here, transferring it from the we will be transferring it from the tracing paper directly onto here. And with this brush, I have made the layer of paint is pretty smooth, so it should go on quite well. So you can just go in and smish mash it around a little bit, like so. And make sure it's all nice and smooth. And maybe we'll just go, you look around at spots that look like they weren't covered and just add a little bit more paint. Like you can see right here, there's some canvas showing through, so let's put a little dab in there, cover it up. Some people leave the texture of the canvas showing through. It's not my style, but you know, that's up to you. I mean, you can if you want. I don't. I like to cover everything, make sure it's nice and smooth with paint. You can add a little bit more paint here and there if you want. Okay. All right, well, let's let that sit for a few minutes so it dries, and I'm going to go wash my brushes. I'm just lightly rubbing it over. You don't have to rub it in or anything real hard. Ooh, I like that. That is very cool. Okay, and let's do another little bit down here. These are fun. Yeah, that looks good. And then we could do a bit more here. Just random. If you have some stencils, you can just do some random bits and pieces here and there. All right, I am going to put that over there. And I have my new favorite, this one from Joggles. And I just did this on one of my girl faces. And here it is here. And it's the roses. They're so cool. Love, love, love. So use this And I'm going to throw maybe a bit of GAC on here. Where's my GAC? Oh, I've used it up already. Okay, so we'll do it some blue, maybe a bit of the pink. So let's start with the pink. That might be interesting. And I'm just gently going over this. This is a very thin stencil, so it's not quite as hardy as my other ones. All right. All right, I'm getting real deep colored magenta here. And now I'm going to go into a bit of white and the blue, the darker blue. Let's see what we come up with. Okay, there you have there and here. And let's try a combo on the edges. Now, when we put the face on, we might be covering that up, but it makes a great background. Look at that. Oh, that's so yummy. And I'm going to put some right here too. The magenta. There we go. There's one. And a bit more. I love this stencil, as you can tell. Addicted. So you don't have to use the whole part of the rose. This is kind of interesting here because I just put a dark bit here, left a patch there, not stenciled. So I'm going to do some more over here. Maybe we'll just do white with some light there. Little touch of green. It doesn't have to be like solid color inside the stencil. It makes it look more interesting. And then I can go on the sides as well and also do stenciling too. So you can easily do it at the sides, but I think we'll do that after the fact when the finished piece is done. It looks like we got some stuff on here. And add some stenciling. So dry again. We're going to make sure it dries nice and dry. And then we'll come back and it's like, look at my hands. So when I come back, that's when we're going to put the face on there and start that next process. So stay with me, watch to the end to see the whole meal deal, what we're doing. This is really important. So I challenge you to paint along with me and stop at the times I stop and finish what you're painting and then jump in again and have fun, okay? Good stuff. All righty. Okay, and we're going to stop. We're back, and it's time to prep the drawing for putting on canvas. So, I mean, if you wanted to, here's an idea. You could always cut this out and glue it right to your canvas and then start painting over top of that because it's not going to show anyways. But we are going to put it on there properly. And I need to find, oh boy, here. There it is. Okay, this is a woodless pencil and it's a 4B. And what I'm going to do is flip it over like so and just go like this on the lines. Do not use carbon paper. It's nasty. This is much cleaner. I mean, you could probably get away with it if you're working with acrylics on canvas, but if you're going on watercolor or any kind of paper, it does not live, which really sucks. I don't like that. Okay. All right, we've got our beautiful canvas here, and it feels fairly dry. It's just a little bit tacky. So figure out where you want the face. I'm one for just putting it over a little bit one way or the other. So we can have it, well, right about there. That might be good. So we've got the carbon on the back. And then just go in with a colored pencil so you can see what you've already done. And go over it and trace it. I don't have one at my fingertips here, so I'm going to use this. I'll just go. And like I say, you can always tweak this, you know, once you've got it on and you start painting. So these lines are quite thick that I'm putting on. And it's like, look, it's taking no time at all to do this. So you don't have to get fussy about it, because that takes time. And so just cover your spots, go over everything. And it just makes it a lot faster. I mean, if you want, you can freehand your drawing directly onto the canvas if you're confident. I can just sort of see her. She's there. So go in and you can draw in with your pencil, like so. I've got my white and I have a bit of, let's see, what is this? Titanium buff. And I'm going to just start blocking in some shapes with this bigger brush here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, so you figure out where your highlights are going to be. And I've got to hold my canvas down because my table is uneven for some reason. So I've had to keep stopping my video because I'm doing this in my gallery and people come in and start talking to me. So then, of course, I have to drop what I'm doing. So here I'm just putting where the highlights go. And if there's a bit of yuck on my brush, I take it off. And okay, so your forehead has got highlights. Got a piece of yuck there. Yeah. Okay, go away, go away. Kick off those bits of yuck a bit. Now, for me, this process sometimes takes days. It's not to scare you or anything, but I end up kind of fussing around with them a little bit and do a bit here, a bit there. So I'm just going to show you my process. So I'm putting the white here and leave bits of the undercover color showing, because it just makes it more interesting. We want some of that on her face. And then you've got your lip dip hair. And sort of scrub your brush so you have like a dry brush on your acrylic. Okay. And for some reason my acrylics are drying really fast today. So we've got the highlights blocked in, and there's usually a bit here on the nose. Okay. You can see why I prefer a sanded base, because I could get a smoother face off it, and there's still quite a bit of texture from the canvas on here, and it just kind of drives me crazy. Okay, so we're going to go in here. Now, if you don't like the shape of the face, you can always thin it down. I'm going to just block in her mouth. Everyone is unique. I think I'm going to make something and it's going to turn out a certain way, and it doesn't. I don't do cookie cutter faces, but you can always have a photograph beside you of a face that you like and start working in that direction. Okay, we're going to go in with the white, a little bit of pink, and I'm going to just do her neck and her shoulder. Reminder, we're not going for realism here. It's all a fun painting. Do a bit of scumbling right over top of our design. I'm mixing in a bit of the skin tone, the titanium buff. Okay, water it down. Wash that up a little bit, and let's go scrape this. And I'm blocking the shapes in of the face and the shoulders right now, and you can always go back and add dark colors to that. It's not written in stone, but I like what's going on here. You can sort of see the design through her shoulder. That makes it more interesting. Okay, let's get a bit of this one here. So I'm going to just do a line here, and then we can take some of the blue. Straight blue right here. And we'll just put it here. So that's really watered down. And we'll just run it across. Let's see what happens. And I'll take this one. It's all experimentation. So we are officially in the ugly stage. Morning, morning. Okay. Alrighty. Keep my arm off my paint, and I'm going to give her some blue eyes, like really blue. And another way you could do the eyes too, you can just go in with a watercolor pencil. It gives really good eyes. And so we could probably go over this after the fact with the watercolor pencils. Or Caran d'Ache crayons, which are really wonderful for doing this, getting in some details. So I'm going to, let's see where we at here. I'm going to go and do this. Just going to shape the eye so you can see it. All right, that's what we got there. And let's do the other one. And the cool thing about acrylics, if you're not familiar with them, you can layer. So if you don't like this color blue on her iris, then you can change it. I have done that. Okay, I'm covered in paint. All right, so let's just outline that eye a little bit so you can just kind of see where we're going here. So it's time to let it dry again because I'm getting wet, and we'll come back. Now see how far we got? Isn't that awesome? It's like give yourself a pat on the back, because this takes courage. Believe me, I never made it this far. 20 years ago I tried doing faces and I was just terrible, and I didn't realize there is an ugly stage, and we are boom in it right now. Hey guys,
If you made it this far, I know it's weird what happened with the camera, but my one camera went, I don't know what happened to the darn thing. Anyways, I lost the looking down footage, so please forgive me. But here's what it looks like so far with the blocking in of the white. So you really haven't missed anything. And part two will be popping in a couple of days. So come on back and check it out. And thank you for watching. I appreciate every single one of you watching and my subscribers. Have a fabulous day and go make some art.